Status of children in India. One of the biggest social stigmas attached to a society is that of child abuse. A child can be abused physically, sexually, or mentally. It can be in the form of injury, neglect, or negligent treatment, blaming, forced sexual stimulation and activity, incest, exploitation, and sexual abuse. Child abuse can take place in homes, schools, orphanages, residential care facilities, on the streets, in the workplace, in prisons, and in places of detention. Violence in any form has a very deep impact on the overall development of the child. Child abuse results in actual or potential harm to the child's health, survival, development, or dignity. 53% of children in India face some form of child sexual abuse. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, the cases of rape and murder of children increase every year. The growing complexities of life and the changed social economic conditions have exposed the children to new and different forms of abuse. But the sad state of the affairs is that such heinous acts are reported less. It has such a psychological impact on the mind of the child that he seldom gathers the courage to speak about the act being committed against him. Even if he confides the fact with someone, the social factors let the fact being dumped under the fear of family reputation and other related issues. In fact, child abuse is a violation of the basic human rights of a child. What is child abuse? As per the definition given by UNICEF, violence can be physical and mental abuse and injury, neglect or negligent treatment, exploitation and sexual abuse. Such violence can affect the normal development of a child, impairing their mental, physical and social being. In extreme cases, abuse of a child can result in death. Child abuse has many forms: physical, emotional, sexual, neglect and exploitation. Any of these that are potentially or actually harmful to a child's health, survival, dignity and development are abuse. Child abuse is a state of emotional, physical, economic and sexual maltreatment meted out to a person below the age of 18 and is a globally prevalent phenomenon. However, in India, as in many other countries, there has been no understanding of the extent, magnitude and trends of the problem. The growing complexities of life and the dramatic changes brought about by socio-economic transitions in India have played a major role in increasing the vulnerability of children to various and newer forms of abuse. Child abuse has serious physical and psychosocial consequences which adversely affect the health and overall well-being of a child. According to WHO, child abuse or maltreatment constitutes all forms of physical and or emotional ill treatment, sexual abuse, neglect or negligent treatment, or commercial or other exploitation resulting in actual or potential harm to the child's health, survival, development or dignity in the context of a relationship of responsibility, trust or power. Child abuse is a violation of the basic human rights of a child and is an outcome of a set of interrelated familial, social, psychological and economic factors. The problem of child abuse and human rights violations is one of the most critical matters on the international human rights agenda. In the Indian context, acceptance of child rights as primary inviolable rights is fairly recent, as is the universal understanding of it. The national study on child abuse undertaken by the Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India in 2005 attempts to understand the extent of the problem, its dimensions as well as its intensity. In addition, it examines two aspects: strategies to address the problem of child abuse, identification of areas of further research, based on the findings of the study. Types of child abuse. Sexual abuse. Sexual abuse is an inappropriate sexual behavior with a child. It includes fondling a child's genitals, making the child fondle the adult's genitals, intercourse, incest, rape, sodomy, exhibitionism, and sexual exploitation. To be considered child abuse, these acts have to be committed by a person responsible for the care of a child, for example, a babysitter, a parent, or a daycare provider, or related to the child. If a stranger commits these acts, it would be considered sexual assault and handled solely by the police and criminal courts. Physical abuse. Physical abuse can be defined as a situation in which a child suffers or is likely to suffer significant harm from an injury inflicted by the child's parent or caretaker. It is a more visible form of abuse among working children than children who normally resides with the parents. If a child failed in executes the order of his boss, the boss may get angry and beat, burn, fracture, abrasion, etc. Boys are more beaten than girls. Also, school-going children will be more beaten by the other children. Unexplained or repeated injuries such as welts, bruises or burns. Injuries that are in the shape of an object, belt buckle, electric cord, etc. Injuries not likely to happen given the age or ability of the child. For example, broken bones in a child too young to walk or climb. Disagreement between the child's and the parent's explanation of the injury. Unreasonable explanation of the injury. Obvious neglect of the child. Dirty, undernourished, inappropriate clothes for the weather, lack of medical or dental care. Emotional abuse. The World Health Organization, WHO, has defined emotional abuse to include the failure to provide a developmentally appropriate, supportive environment, including the availability of a primary attachment figure, so that the child can develop a stable and full range of emotional and social competencies commensurate with her or his personal potentials and in the context of the society in which the child dwells. There may also be acts towards the child that cause or have a high probability of causing harm to the child's health or physical, mental, spiritual, moral or social development. These acts must be reasonably within the control of the parent or person in a relationship of responsibility. Trust or power. Acts include restriction of movement, patterns of belittling and denigrating, threatening, scaring, discriminating, ridiculing, or other non-physical forms of hostile or rejecting treatment. Examples of these acts are restricting movement, threatening, scaring, discriminating, ridiculing, belittling, etc. In India, a rising concern is the pressure children feel to perform well in school and college examinations, which can be seen as a form of emotional stress and abuse. The children who had undergone emotional are more prone to depression, estrangement, anxiety, low self-esteem, inappropriate or troubled relationships, or a lack of empathy. Neglect. Neglect or negligent treatment is purposeful omission of some or all developmental needs of the child by a caregiver with the intention of harming the child. This includes the failure of protecting the child from a harmful situation or environment when feasible. Not providing adequate food or clothing to the child. Not providing adequate medical care, rejection and abandonment, failure to provide appropriate schooling, lack of emotional support and love are some forms of neglect. Our Indian society has a special affection for sons, and in this scenario, the daughters are often neglected by the families while the sons are given preference in everything. Children who face neglect from their family and friends become quite suffer from psychological complications. It again affects their physical and mental growth, and often such children turn very aggressive also. Child abuse and neglect can be defined as the intentional, non-accidental injury, malnutrient of children by parents. caretaker, employers, or others, including those individuals presenting government, non-government bodies, which may lead to temporary or permanent impairment of their physical, mental, psychosocial development, disability of death. Children, particularly infants, are perhaps the most vulnerable victims of crime because of their very great dependence upon their parents. It's a tragic fact that children suffer to a far greater extent as the hands of parents and their friends than they do as the hands of strangers. This type of abuse can be further classified into physical neglect, emotional neglect, moral neglect, and social neglect. Child abuse in India. 19% of the world's children live in India. According to the 2001 census, some 440 million people in the country today are aged below 18 years and constitute 42% of India's total population, that is, 4 out of every 10 persons. This is an enormous number of children that the country has to take care of. While articulating its vision of progress, development, and equity, India has expressed its recognition of the fact that when its children are educated, healthy, happy, and have access to opportunities, they are the country's greatest human resource. The National Policy for Children 1974 declared children to be a supreme national asset. It pledged measure to secure and safeguard all their needs, declaring that this could be done by making wise use of available national resources. Unfortunately, 10 successive 5-year plans have not allocated adequate resources to meet the needs of children. An exercise on child budgeting carried out by the Ministry of Women and Child Development revealed that total expenditure on children in 2005-2006 in health, education, development and protection together amounted to a mere 3.86%, rising to 4.91% in 2006-2007. The share of resources for child protection was abysmally low at 0.034% in 2005-2006 and remained the same in 2006-2007. Available resources have also not been utilized effectively for achieving outcomes for children. As a result, the status and condition of children have remained far from secure. Harmful traditional practices like child marriage, caste system, and discrimination against the girl child, child labor, and Devadasi tradition impact negatively on children and increase their vulnerability to abuse and neglect. Lack of adequate nutrition, poor access to medical and educational facilities, migration from rural to urban areas leading to rise in urban poverty, children on the streets, and child beggars all result in breakdown of families. These increase the vulnerabilities of children and expose them to situations of abuse and exploitation. According to the report published in 2005 on trafficking in women and children in India, 44,476 children were reported missing in India, out of which 11,008 children continued to remain untraced. India, being a major source and destination country for trafficked children from within India and adjoining countries, has, by conservative estimates, 3 to 5 lakh girl children in commercial sex and organized prostitution. Major findings. It has very clearly emerged that across different kinds of abuse, it is young children in the 5 to 12 year group who are most at risk of abuse and exploitation. Physical abuse. 2 out of every 3 children were physically abused. Out of 69% children physically abused in 13 sample states, 54.68% were boys. Over 50% children in all these 13 sample states were being subjected to one or the other form of physical abuse. Out of those children physically abused in family situations, 88.6% were physically abused by parents. 65% of school-going children reported facing corporal punishment. That is, 2 out of 3 children were victims of corporal punishment. 62% of the corporal punishment was in government and municipal school. The state of Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar and Delhi have almost consistently reported higher rates of abuse in all forms as compared to other states. Most children did not report the matter to anyone. 50.2% children worked 7 days a week. Sexual abuse. 53.22% children reported having faced one or more forms of sexual abuse. Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar and Delhi reported the highest percentage of sexual abuse among both boys and girls. 21.90% child respondents reported facing severe forms of sexual abuse and 50.76% other forms of sexual abuse. Out of the child respondents, 5.69% reported being sexually assaulted. Children in Assam, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar and Delhi reported the highest incidence of sexual assault. Children on street, children at work and children in institutional care reported the highest incidence of sexual assault. 50% abusers are persons known to the child or in a position of trust and responsibility. Most children did not report the matter to anyone. Emotional abuse and girl-child neglect. Every second child reported facing emotional abuse. Equal percentage of both girls and boys reported facing emotional abuse. In 83% of the cases, parents were the abusers. 48.4% of girls wished they were boys. The gravity of the situation demands that the issue of a child abuse be placed on the national agenda. The ministry on its part has taken measures such as the enabling legislation to establish the national and state commissions for protection of rights of the child, the Integrated Child Protection Scheme, the Draft Offences Against Children Bill, etc. These are a few important steps to ensure protection of children of the country. But clearly, this will not be enough. The government, civil society and communities need to complement each other and work towards creating a protective environment for children. The momentum gained needs to enhance further discussion on the issue amongst all stakeholders and be translated into a movement to ensure protection of children of this country. Status of India's children. The Constitution of India contains a number of provisions for the protection and welfare of the children. It has empowered the legislature to make special laws and policies to safeguard the rights of the children. Some of the national policies are: the major policies that have been formulated to ensure child rights and improvement in their status are: National Policy for Children 1974, National Policy on Education 1986, National Policy on Child Labour 1987, National Nutrition Policy 1993, Report of the Committee on Prostitution, Children Prostitutes and Children of Prostitutes and Plan of Action to Combat Trafficking and Commercial Sexual Exploitation of Women and Children 1998, National Health Policy 2002, National Charter for Children 2004, National Plan of Action for Children 2005. While on the one hand girls are being killed even before they are born, on the other hand, children who are born and survive suffer from a number of violations. The world's highest number of working children is in India. To add this, India has the world's largest number of sexually abused children. With a child below 16 years raped every 155th minute, a child below 10 every 13th hour, and 1 in every 10 children sexually abused at any point of time. Most subtle forms of violence against children, such as child marriage, economic exploitation, practices like the Devadasi tradition of dedicating young girls to gods and goddesses, genital mutilation in some parts of the country are often rationalized on grounds of culture and tradition. Physical and psychological punishments take place in the name of disciplining children and are culturally accepted. Forced evictions, displacement due to the development projects, war and conflict, communal riots, natural disasters, all of these take their own toll on children. Children also stand worst affected by HIV or AIDS. Even those who have remained within the protective net stand at the risk of falling out of it. Child participation. Children in most sections of Indian society are traditionally and conventionally not consulted about matters and decisions affecting their lives. In the family and household, the neighborhood and wider community, in school or in a workplace, and across the settings of social and cultural life, children's views are mostly not given much importance. If they do speak out, they are not normally heard. The imposition of restrictive norms is especially true for girl children. This limits children's access to information and to choice, and often to the possibility of seeking help outside their immediate circle. Following acts are enacted for the welfare and protection of the rights of the children. The Indian Penal Code 1860, the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques, Regulation and Prevention of Misuse Act 1994, the Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act 2000, the Immoral Traffic Prevention Act 1956, Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, the Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, the Commissions for the Protection of Child Rights Act 2005, Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act 2012. Although child abuse is a pervasive and complex problem with many causes, we should not take a defeatist attitude toward its prevention. Despite the absence of strong evidence to guide our preventive efforts, physicians can do many things to try to prevent abuse. At the very least, showing increased concern for the parents or caregivers and increasing our attempts to enhance their skills as parents or caregivers may help save our most vulnerable patients from the nightmare of abuse and neglect. In sum, rape and sexual abuse of children in India is a large problem without an easy solution. Though the issue persists worldwide, India's culture, which traditionally keeps women below men, makes talk of private matters such unallowable, and a corrupt and weak legal system when it comes to rape makes the problems even larger. However, the situation could be improved by appropriately educating children and adults on sexual abuse and educating police and strengthening laws. Further, women's empowerment may lead to healthy changes as well. It is clear that we as physicians cannot hope to solve the problem of child abuse by ourselves. Many things need to happen at international, national, state and community levels to prevent child abuse. The physician who is concerned for the welfare of children should be an advocate for more accessible, affordable and high-quality child and health care in the local community. Studies have shown that countries with the most generous social services have the lowest rate of child homicide. Physicians should lobby for greater availability of drug and alcohol treatment programs, more shelters for the homeless, more accessible mental health care, and more shelters for abused women and children. These programs and those that provide parenting skills, support groups, and respite care for parents and caregivers should be available in every community.